And we're back here once again with another episode of the Iron Man podcast, episode 508 with Miss Kpop Junki. Actually, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You're doing pretty good. So, for anyone that doesn't actually know this, we were supposed to do this a long time ago, but she ended up standing me up. She was like, "I'm gonna go hang out with my husband," and she left me basically. So that's exactly what happened. Nah, guys. There's been a lot of people that I've been only able to like technically get back to because when I was trying to set up a lot of the podcast episodes, because as everyone knows, I lost my main channel, which would include that I had to stop the shows that I was doing, because if you start the same podcast you're doing after you've lost stuff like that, then people want to know like where's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all that other stuff. So I was like, you know what, we'll just start over from scratch. So there's a bunch of new people that I got a chance to get in contact with, actually. And she was one of them. And we finally are just now getting to this. We've messaged each other since, like, I think October of last year. So we are finally just getting to this now. She basically left me like my dad and then only wanted to come back from my clout. That's really all she's here for, is that.
I finally came back with the milk. It's okay.
That's good. And now, as you guys know, if you want to watch the episodes of the Iron Man podcast in order, follow me on Rumble. All the episodes from episodes 1 to 499 are all in order. And so just in case you want to get all the unfiltered goodness out of our previous episodes we did on Rumble, they're there. Starting from episode 500, that's where the show is at. But just in case you want to go and see what we were doing before the show ended up being here, you can go on Rumble and follow me there. And you don't have to follow me on Rumble at all, because, you guys say you don't like the app. You're cool. You can just watch the content. Because I feel like we did some of the best episodes ever from that first episode all the way to 499. So, as everyone knows, when I do have a new guest here, generally I like to get the origin story out of the way, because that way if she ever comes back, because women, they always come back if you do it good enough. They always message you.
Very true.
If she'll be back, then we'll know more about her. So, how was your life growing up?
Terrible. Thank you.
You're the second woman to actually tell me that. First off, the other one was Jay, the singer lady on Twitter. I had her on, and she said, "I was like, how's your life growing up, man?" She was like, "Oh, it's fucking awful." I'm like, oh, "Okay, I guess we're starting off on the best foot." So, how awful are we talking here? Like, no food in the fridge. Dad was a alcoholic. Mom was a strung out heroin addict or something.
My dad wasn't in the picture until I started working for him in my 20s.
Well, this is starting off good.
I know, it's great. It's great. Like I said, he left to get milk. I came back with the milk to be on your show. But
your dad left you.
Well, my mom and my dad got divorced when I was young, so
okay.
He was never really a thing in my life, so that was okay. Mm-hmm. And every time we did get together, it was like he wanted to leave.
Wow. So, how does your mom take that? When
she did not like him. She's like, we're not having him in the house. We're not, there was a thing. But no, she did an all right job raising us. Mm-hmm. So my bro and I, that's how I really, really got into the nerd stuff and the wrestling and the combating, is because my bro and I just kind of rallied around all that stuff. So yes, it's fun.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand. If you had a horrible life, or it was not even just horrible, just boring, you kind of put your life and your identity in watching stuff on TV, because that's really all you had. Or you played like video games, because like back in the day, the internet wasn't really as evolved as it is now, where it could just be like accessibly to you. Because to have internet back in the day, you would know you had to be decently well off, and you were poor. All you had was just cable.
That was the thing. Like, or if you were lucky, when Dreamcast came around, you could have got the thing and paid like your cable company, to get the thing. But it's like not many people had it.
Yeah.
When I graduated, we got Gateway. We had DOS. We had typewriting classes, DOS, and then by the end of it, we finally got like internet, but it wasn't really internet. Like we were searching like Dragon Ball images.
Yeah. You don't remember. All you had basically is if your parents paid the basic cable package and you just watched stuff, and you got home and you waited till the newest stuff dropped. I remember we would go to channel 30, which I'm pretty sure is still like the TV guide channel, to see like when stuff was new. Now that's how we're like old.
Oh, dude, yeah.
So you have to kind of figure out when stuff would drop, be there when it dropped, and it was such an event doing it. And I feel like the reason why a lot of people just don't care about media sometimes anymore is because when you have to really go out there and try to be a part of it and see it and witness it, it made it a lot more special. Now you just kind of Even just go
It's
on the
kind of
internet, type in
kind
whatever
of
new movie you
everywhere
want.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like everywhere. Like I remember, okay, so I got really big into K-pop, J-pop, J-rock, and anime in the 80s and 90s. I used to watch a show on the international channel and I would have to write down what I thought was the characters because it wasn't even in English. I had to write down the characters and I would go to my library and I would try to hunt down what those characters were so I could figure out who the artists were. That was back in the 90s.
Yeah, because in League of Legends, because we had this big craze with K-pop for a while there. You know, they even created a champion that modeled K-pop.
Yeah.
Is that still a big thing?
Oh, it's huge. I got into it 30 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been listening to it since the 90s, and it is severely blown up now to where they go and do tours in the States, but they also go and do like the club nights for K-pop. And if you go right now to like Lucky Charms, you can get one with like K-pop people on it on the package of Lucky Charms right now. That's how big it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite K-pop stars then?
So way back in the day, the OG, I was really into like the underground rap scene, the rock scene, and then my favorite band of all time, which is Shinhwa. But right now, I got recently back into it after like a 10-year absence. And I'm into like the 2015 range. So I'm super into like Big Bang and 21 right now. So
Okay. It's so weird because when people told me what K-pop was, I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I just like, "What is that?" And then I was exposed to it, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. This is kind of what I swear." Because like I went through League of Legends, and it's kind of like you get to see like a bunch of like Korean and Chinese people, like the way they do stuff, and it's like just the way that their form of entertainment is different compared to ours is so much more different. Like they're honestly better rap artists than we are, you know? They just spit bars natively.
Dude, look up Outsider. It's great. You would like Outsider.
So eventually growing up, what did you ended up doing actually after high school?
After high school, I started working for a hotel. Just randomly.
You were a housekeeper? Oh,
no, I ran the front desk overnight by myself. So.
Okay, so I must have been like horny couples.
Oh, that was a hoot because it was slightly near the ghetto, so that was fun times. Let me tell you.
So you had like what horny couples coming in asking for rooms all the time?
Yes, sometimes, yeah. And then we had like a couple crazy people that like lived there. So like I had a Shango blog back in the day of the shenanigans that would go down at the hotel at nighttime. Oh yeah, my most famous story is so we used to get coffee. I used to make coffee in the morning for everybody, and then we would get donuts delivered. So this one lady would come down. She was batshit crazy. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm supposed to swear or not. But she came in, didn't say a single word, went up to the coffee pot, took the coffee pot, walked it over, and then dumped it right in our printer. Went, put the pot back on the thing, and then left, walked out the door. And we were like, what happened? Yeah, like, I don't know. But yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Good times.
What in the fucking hell? I swear, crackheads are a different
you're just kind of like dumbfounded but amazed and slightly entertained at the same time by shenanigans that be going down. You're like, I don't know what happened, but I kind of want more of it kind of situation. You're like, what? Yeah. But yeah, so that was interesting. Then after that, I started working for my dad in real estate. So
okay. So you've been in real estate for how long, essentially?
Half my life.
Okay. Yeah. You remember the housing crash back in 2008?
Yep. Yeah, we were really big in then because we had a lot. My dad did nothing but like the bank owned properties. So that was a huge part of our real estate at the time. Yeah.
So for anyone who wasn't living around back then or knew that situation, what really happened? Because even still to this day, people really don't know. It's always like banks kind of did this. People financed their house this way and this. What really happened? Because even back when I was growing up, 2008, I was like in 8th grade, almost about to be at freshman. So I remember it happening, but I wasn't really that involved with stuff because obviously I was super young at the time and I didn't really know all the ins and outs of all that stuff.
So it's going to be coming around again. I'm going to let you know because during COVID, what happened was, no, it's not. So what happened was during COVID, people were lax on what was going on because people couldn't get inspectors, they couldn't get appraisers to go out. People weren't even letting people in their houses. So a lot of the time people were overbidding on housing for sales. So some people were going 50 to 100 grand over to purchase a property and they were waiving appraisals. So
Okay.
it's going to be an interesting thing when that comes back around because there's going to be a lot of the 2008-ish stuff happening back again.
Yeah, because people forgot during the lockdown period, people were like not paying rent. People got all
Yeah.
these like who got all this money from the government, all this unemployment, and they just weren't paying their rent at all. Landlords were getting screwed. Like, man, fucking uh
It was something. Like, so we're still getting affected by that, like right now.
the
So
squatter
we're
thing. I'm pretty sure you know about
Well,
that.
squatters have always been a thing. That's always been a thing.
Hmm.
In like the real estate, especially depending on what areas you live in, they know how to work the system. They know how to work the court system in their favor to stay in a
Hmm.
property. Like that has always been an issue
Hmm.
throughout here. But what happened was too, a lot of the landlords, because they were tired of people either not paying or they were paying, they're upping the rent by double to most places. Like they just did this in my office. So because of this, we're like, we're not paying for a 5,000 square foot office building that
Yeah.
nobody comes into because one, we had 8 people die during COVID, like just within the last year, 8 people. So that happened. And then people stopped coming in because they were definitely afraid of getting COVID. So it kind of just destroyed the office place, really.
Hmm.
Like people don't come in at work, they work at home. And you're a realtor, you don't have to come in anyways. So we're like, we're not going to be paying all this money for all this space for nothing. So for the last month, we have been doing nothing but getting rid of cubicles, office furniture, whatever, to downsize so we could just move across the hallway because it's like, there's no point keeping all this space and paying
Yeah, I remember
ridiculous
that was
amounts.
the thing where a lot,
Yeah.
there was a lot of jobs like you had it where you basically had like considered a desk job. That's what they're
Yeah.
mostly called. People were like, "Wait, we could just do all this stuff at home and just talk on Zoom or StreamYard or whatever."
Yeah.
But then the people that actually own the buildings were like, "Wait a minute, why are we paying all this money if we just do all this at home and just cut them? Basically, cutting out the middleman, essentially." You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then because still a lot of like McDonald's here that you
Mhm.
can't go inside because they don't have the staff to like keep up the cleaning and running the place. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
McDonald's here that you can't even go into. So a lot of the fast food places have closed and a lot of like the office spaces have closed because of that. And a lot of people have just moved to doing jobs online.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good God, man.
So
Yeah.
the McDonald's that have that didn't have the staff to run the insides, what they're doing is they put a kiosk on the inside. So you can't even go to the register now. Like you go through drive-through or kiosk. So
Mhm.
the people that are back there are either making the food or just like cleaning up because you
Yeah.
can either go pick up stuff and leave, but you can't really stay in a lot of the places
Yeah, it
here.
was their way of slashing jobs with
Yeah.
minimum wage going up to $20 an hour.
Yeah, which is interesting because there was a couple places here that they go like 15, 18, 20, 25. I think at one point somebody was at like $30 an hour for a job because they just needed staff so bad.
Yeah, because
And they
people.
still had trouble getting job. People
Yeah,
employed.
what's crazy is like a bunch of people were getting all this money from unemployment, and then because Joe Biden is such a trash fucking president, he was like, man, we should pay our Americans to help them with their bills and everything, and it's like people do realize if you make that much money. Well, they won't be wanting to go to work. Like, why would someone go to work if they're making all that money? Like, that's not
Yeah.
what you want to do, honestly.
So So what happened with that too is we had a lot of people before lockdown, before everybody started going into like the unemployment stuff, that
Mhm.
were approved for loans. And
Oh,
we
okay.
would go to get ready to go to a closing, but then they would get denied on the closing because you can't claim unemployment for income on a mortgage.
I did not know that actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So,
that messed up a lot of stuff because of that.
mhm. So now there's all these we'll say rules, stipulations, requirements to getting a house, obviously. Because back in
Yeah.
the day, at least with apartments, you go to the apartment complex, you talk to the manager and be like, "Hey, is this thing open?" They do a background check, and they're like, "Hey, when this person leaves, you get in there." That's
Yeah.
not how it is anymore. That is all changed.
That is kind of all changed. Leasing is still kind of, but the pricing on leasing is more than if you would purchase a house now. Like
Mhm.
it went up so high, and then even the values on properties are so over grossly priced right now because so many people, which is weird, were overbidding on properties. Like I said earlier, like 50
Yeah, I
some
remember.
grand over
Yeah.
just to get the house, but the value isn't there. They just overbid the property, and then they would get a mortgage on it, but pay cash for whatever's over
Mhm.
above what they wanted to pay. So that kind of like screwed up a lot of the values in the area. So you could go look down a street, doesn't matter where, and there'll be like $100 grand range in pricing because they just screwed up all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you can't even trust that people are gonna pay because of how much money they potentially are not making right now because
Yep.
things people
Oh
are just
yeah.
not making enough money because the economy
Yeah.
is bad. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So a lot of people that we know that purchased the home over the last 2 years lost their jobs after they purchased it. So either they don't have a job right now or something. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going to be happening because of that, because it just hit so many people because of lockdown.
How did you begin doing YouTube? Was it someone you were watching, you were inspired by, or you were just like, fuck it, I want to just talk about stuff and just get it off my chest?
No, actually, I started doing art streams about 17 some years ago.
You were just drawing?
Yeah. I did it as a way to face my anxiety and to talk to people because I had really bad anxiety. So I didn't even have a face cam on. I was just strictly on my art. So I would just do art and I would go on there and talk. And I started Blog TV, YouNow, Tiny Chat, like Justin TV at the time before it turned to Twitch. That's what I was on. I was doing all that up until about 4 years ago. Then I took a break, and then I've always collected comics, and I always collected nerd stuff, games. Like I would go in and out of what I collect: games, toys, just you name it. I go in and out, like books, comics, all of that stuff. So I was looking at my 7 boxes of comics. I was like, you know what? I don't really need 7 boxes of comics. Let me figure out how I could clean these things, save the good ones, get rid of some other ones. And no, that's a big mistake because I'm over 30 boxes of comics now, super deep into collecting. I know. And then, so by doing that, I went to YouTube to figure out how do you clean a comic book because I was like, I don't know, like what materials you use and any of that stuff, which that's how I found the comic YouTube. And then I got into doing auctions at the time. So I was doing late nights hangouts, and then I was doing like the mod work on auctions for a long time. And then I was like, hey, last year is when I actually started my actual YouTube channel, like doing content. So
last year.
Yeah, last year.
Okay, so you've been a part of YouTube essentially since like a long time, but you only just started doing your own thing last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Because what comics did you end up getting when you were younger? You had more DC or Marvel stuff, or you were around for like
all
the
of it.
period?
All of it. Yeah, I was really big into Spider-Man. I was really big into Catwoman DC runs. I was really big into weird random stuff that I was finding. Huge into like samurai ninja animal books, like just the stupidest stuff that you could pick out of like a 10 for $1 bid because that's how much they cost at the time. The back issue bid.
Were you around for Image when they first started?
Yeah. Oh, I'm old. I'm in my 40s, so yes.
What? No, you're born in like 1980.
I'm 40. I was 81.
Oh my god, you were around for Top Gun when it came out. Oh my god,
I was there for all of it, so I've seen it all. Yes, I can tell you right now where my love for comics started. There was 3 times. I came on the Dollar Movie, and I went next door to the comic shop, which I still go to, by the way, Comic Oasis. Shout out to Big Ben's. And I bought ASM 381 and 382, which is a crossover event between Hulk and Spider-Man, and that's what got that started. And then I got super into the Maximum Carnage run. And then after a very intense round at Video Zone of playing Mortal Kombat on the arcade machine, we went next door to Dairy Mart. Yeah, we went next door to Dairy Mart to get snacks, and they had a spinner rack. And that's how I found Jim Ballett's run of Catwoman issue #1. Yeah.
So, on a little side thing for Mortal Kombat, I'm pretty sure you did not like the Mortal Kombat live action movie that came out a while ago.
They were okay. So you're talking to somebody that's old, so grew up with the cheesiest of the cheesiest of action movies and comic movies, and game movies. So I remember going to the opening weekend for the original Mortal Kombat movies when they came out. They were super hyped.
That's considered the best one, the first one.
It's so good. It still holds up. I didn't mind the latest movie that came out. I didn't mind it. I thought it was better in the sense of like CGI fight scenes and like storyline, but I wanted more of it. But I know they're do another live action coming up.
Actually, yeah.
I
still like that Cole character. I wasn't me myself. I wasn't that into Mortal Kombat growing up. I was more into Street Fighter and King of Fighters and Capcom versus SNK, stuff like that.
Capcom versus SNK is fantastic. Capcom versus Marvel is fantastic. How are you reacting to the Capcom Marvel news right now and the new live action Street Fighter stuff that has been just set out?
No, I liked all that. I will definitely get it. I don't know which one I'm gonna zero in on playing because I remember the biggest thing from back in the day was if you go to arcade and the whole people were there for. Now they said you're gonna have it where you can play ranked online. That's great. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, that's all fun. Yeah, I can see my Switch right here, but it's okay. Here, I'll show you. Boom. You got Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, and you got the whole Capcom Fighting Collection right there.
I didn't know they had that on the Switch. I have a Switch. Yeah, I didn't know they had the Street Fighter collection. Oh, that's cool.
Yes, they do. It's awesome. It's really good. Look at all the games that come on. It's a lot.
That's all of them. Holy crap.
It's a lot. Yeah. So we get really into that, but they also branch out to it on the Capcom one as well, where they get some more of that in there. But my favorite puzzle game is Super Street Fighter Turbo. It's amazing. But yeah.
So how do you feel about the comic industry now, since you were essentially a part of it since the beginning? Because I'm pretty sure you've heard that some like the shops are closing down. People aren't going into the shops anymore. What do you think can happen to make people kind of get back into it? Because you know what I've noticed is even if you don't even explain to people why they like all the continuity problems, it's just hard to get people on something because there's so much of it. Like if someone says it like Spider-Man, which Spider-Man are you jumping on? You know, even if you want to give them like a basic new title, it's just like, fuck, I don't know.
So that's what's interesting to me is the dynamic of what is currently out for New Comic Book Day. When you go to a comic shop, I get overwhelmed by the amount of the same titles that are on a shelf. And I don't even know where to start. If you go right now into a comic shop, the amount of X-Men titles that are on there, the amount of Star Wars titles that are out there, you get lost. You don't know where to start. I would recommend, there's a lot of really good indies. There's a lot of good, really one-shots. Recommend people those to start first so they know where to start. Because people don't know where to start in comics. If you tell people to go read Spider-Man, I can tell you right now my favorite issues of Spider-Man. My all-time favorite comic book of all time is something I pulled out of a back issue bin in the 90s, and that is Marvel Team Up 96, and it's Spider-Man and Howard the Duck. My favorite issue of all time. I buy it anytime I see it, and we'll pick it up anytime.
I have that with Batman. I thought that was a Batman Hush. I have that in Omnibus. I have that in the trade paperback. I went out to Cosmic Comics for the Geeks and Gamers meetup, and I was like, I already have that graphic novel. I was going to get it again. I don't know why I got it. I just got it again. I just love the story.
Are you in Michigan?
Me, no, I'm in California.
Oh, because there's a Cosmic Comics that just opened up here like last year. I was like, oh, I go to that one a lot. They have a lot of this fantastic collection, which is pretty awesome. But what I would recommend people, don't worry about the stuff that's on the shelves. Go hunt the back issue bin and just pull up random things that work for you.
Yeah, because people gotta understand the newest stuff coming out is already continual stuff that's already in motion. Unless you're like starting at a number one, then you're like if someone just liked Iron Man, they're like, well, what's the newest Iron Man stuff? Well, that's Invincible Iron Man that's running right now. But that is like on issue 19, and they already said they're probably gonna discontinue that. So there's gonna be another Invincible Iron Man number one that's gonna come out, and that's gonna be basically the same shit, but it's just so they can prop up numbers so they can get the number one sales.
Yeah, and the same thing with Spawn. So Spawn is in a 300 plus range now, and there's like 5 other titles. So even the new titles are into like the 20 and 30 issues, and it's hard to figure out where to start from. So I always recommend people go to your back issue bin. Go look in the bins that they have like the super cheapest of books in. Just pick out stuff that you like. Find a character that you like in there, and then go research that character and figure out small arc runs, small little limited titles, crossover events, and then start for some stuff like that. Maybe go get some trades. You don't actually need the full issues of stuff. You can just get trades and omnis now.
Yeah, I have my comic channel. That was an idea I was going to do. I was going to do a series of videos to help people get into it. And that was the idea that I thought of myself, which was to get into it, I would say pick any character you like. Like Superman, well, type on the internet, what are the best Superman stories by general consensus, and you'll get a ranking of them, and then you'll pick them out and trade, you know?
Yeah. There's even if you like reading, but you like characters, but you don't necessarily know where to start from in comics, but you like Superman, go get the novels. Death of Superman. There's a whole bunch of actual novels that you guys can read. You can also go to your library. Libraries have trades now. Libraries have comics. You could go check all this out at your library. So just go pull stuff off the shelf and just start reading it.
And the other thing I always recommend to people is, because a lot, this is a misconception. You know how people say like trades aren't numbered? No, that's a lie. Whoever told you that's lying. Trades are numbered.
They are numbered,
So like trades would have like volume 1. Yeah. They do. But the problem here is like they have like 20 volume 1s. That's the problem. Yeah.
So, you know what's really good too? Like I bought these at Ollie's. If you have an Ollie's near you, just go look at Ollie's. Usually they're like $1 to like $3 for a trade. You can just go
Yeah.
pull stuff off the shelf and just go read it. Like I got a bunch of the Batman Joker stuff, just a couple bucks. So if you guys just want to like go read stuff, if you have it Ollie's or you have stuff like that, just go read it. Like look at this. Like all of this stuff I pulled out of Ollie's. It was like $6.99.
Oh my god.
So just go
I wish I had an Ollie's.
pick stuff
I
up.
have a Barnes and Noble. It's really all I got. I wish I had an Ollie's here. Oh my god. I would probably clean the whole box. I would clean the bins out of trades. Or
they have giant shelves worth of stuff. But yeah,
right now,
it's awesome.
DC, I'm pretty sure you heard of this. DC's doing the compact comics thing where they're going to be doing this. Is actually great. I feel like people like manga. This is in manga size, and it only costs $10. And they're going to do basically an arc of a character manga size. So this is Court of Owls. They have it for Watchmen. All Star Superman, which is based off the new movie coming up, drops this week. So I like this. That's a great idea.
I think it's fantastic because there's something. A lot of people that I've known, so it was a very interesting mix how, like, especially in like when I was in high school and people were just discovering manga. Because to this day, I could go to my same LCS that I was buying comics from 30 years ago and pull out anime comics, like the CPM comics, the volume 1s through 20s, the issues 1 through whatever. I could still pull those out for the anime books, like because they were based off the anime titles. I love the fact that they are rethinking the way books are being read. Because people love the manga format. And also, I think it's awesome because you could buy more, but put them on your shelf. People like to display those. And I think that's a good starting point, especially nowadays when people are doing lots of TikTok things. They're doing lots of content about like their shelves and things like that. I think it's a good way for people to show off what's on the shelf because you can't really do it with a comic book. Like if it's on a shelf, you just see plastic in a side thing. Like you don't know what it is.
Do you know what I think is what a lot of people fail to reference when they're talking about manga? It's only just one slight thing that I've noticed. People forget mangas have omnibuses. They're not technically called omnibuses. They're called 3-in-1s, which is essentially an omnibus anyway. If people don't want to like spend the money on individual mangas for like $10, literally, honestly, if the anime you want to get into is big enough, they probably have 3-in-1s. The 3-in-1s are actually $20 for the most part, and so you basically get an extra book for free because the 3 books total are $30.
You could go to Five and Below and get them for $5 now. There's some that are like the reprints of stuff that are $5. I've even found at Ollie's the giant the Omni ones of like Death Note. I found those at Ollie's.
Yeah. And those are
you can find them.
And those are actually better bang for your buck because you're not buying the individual manga volume individually. Because if you get on Amazon, if you buy them used, they're like $5 a piece. But like that would add up if there's a series of like 30 volumes. You could get like volumes 1 through 15 for like $20 and then just get the rest when you're done reading them. Yeah. Also, people, whenever you're getting in, make sure to try to save money wherever you can. Like I wish I had known this when I first started, but you know, that's when we have a job. You just kind of keep buying shit and you just don't care.
You're talking to somebody that grew up when anime was starting out in the stores, and you had to purchase a 30-minute VHS for $30.
Yeah,
you were never completing your series. Let me tell you, because you would have like 45 volumes, and half the time they wouldn't get specific ones, and so you would never be able to find that. And like eBay was just kind of starting out, but they didn't have any of that on there. So like. You can find it now for sure, but it's probably like worth way more money than the $30 you were buying it from originally.
Oh, even with anime, you know, a lot of people don't see that because now you can just go on any place and watch anime, even on a free website. Back when I was growing up, you had to wait for all that new shit to drop.
You had to wait for it. And then if you were lucky enough, you would get it in the store. But a lot of times, most stores didn't carry the anime because it was Jap Animation back then. So like Suncoast and MediaPlay had it, but they didn't branch out to like the main stores until like mid 2000s or later.
Man, just you gotta realize when you went through a bad arc in anime, watching it, growing it was horrible. It's so crazy to me that I'll use like the Bound arc for example in Bleach. People were like, you know, I watched this and I don't really understand why people didn't like it. I'll try binging that week on week when it was dropping. Like, then you'll feel differently about it. Like, if you binge it, obviously it's not going to feel the same because you were not waiting for it. That's a terrible arc.
I read Bleach and Naruto as they were coming out, released online during the day. So, to wait for that, and you got, like, because a lot of times you would wait a month for the next one to come out.
Chapters would come out months. Yeah.
They would come out by the month. So as they were coming out, and you're like, yes, it's going to be amazing. And then you would get to like 4-issue filler run, but I still enjoyed it. Bleach still to this day, except for the ending. I hated the ending. It's still one of my favorite anime mangas of all time. The art is just fantastic. The intro music, some of the best intro music. It's great.
Yeah. I make sure to keep that music on my phone. Just like the scores are really good. Like Bleach
Sure, no
definitely.
Hana, let's go. That's the
Yeah.
best. It's the greatest hype jam of all
I felt so
time.
bad for the guy when he revealed that basically he was working so hard. The man basically had like 5 hours of free time. He was
Yeah.
really the only guy that really spoke about that. I remember like all the other guys never really spoke about
They
it.
yeah, they kind of run you ragged over there, and that happened to a lot of the mangakas that are overseas. That's why they
Mhm.
try to get like teams to go and help out and do things. But the amount of work that they're trying to push you out, especially if you have a contract, is insane. Especially if you get a really popular book as well. And I know he didn't like the ending of that as well because he had to rush it due to contract obligations. That's why they came back out recently with the newer one that's out. But
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, and then when you watch that and you get to the end of that, you can really tell like kind of like where it started to fizzle out because you could tell he was worn out. You could tell he just wanted to end it kind of situation. Yeah. But
And
it's
at
still
that point,
fantastic.
people gotta realize it's the same thing with like TV when an actor is cast for something and they're playing it for like years and years on end. I'd imagine they still love the role, but once you kind of keep doing it year on out, it's like it's not as special anymore. It becomes very mundane. It's really tiring. I'd imagine he
Yeah.
loved Bleach, but when you're working that hard, it's really hard to love it as much as you did initially when it first started. You know?
Yeah. Because even when I've been, how long I've been, it's like got to be 20 some years since when I started reading it as it was coming out
Mhm.
monthly. So people have it nowadays, but when you're doing that, and then it was probably 10 years before that, before it even got to the US, before they were even releasing it on
Yeah,
any of the sites. Because what was it in Shonen Jumpish type situations first?
yeah. It came to Shonen Jump. Uh, Not initially. It was added in later on,
Yeah.
and then like so now it's just in Shonen Jump monthly for people. I remember the month that the final chapter dropped when it was when part one was over when they beat Aizen. For me, that was always kind of like the ending. I've checked in and out here and there, but for me,
Yeah.
it always I don't know for anime. Whenever they got to like a big conclusion for like an ending or something, it always felt like that was a conclusion. Like One Piece and Marineford was kind of
Yeah.
like a conclusion of it for me, even though it's still going on. But it really felt like with Bleach when they beat Aizen, or when Kisuke sealed him, really felt like that was just kind of like the end. I was like, when they announced it was coming back, I was like, for what? What are we really gonna do? I thought this was over, honestly. You know, like sometimes
Yeah.
anime's gotta know when to end. It's like, was there another story to tell outside of this? You know?
Yeah, they set the ending up where you could tell that they were going to come back and do that based on how they did the actual ending on it.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that they were going to be doing that eventually, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of that where like the final boss scene that they did like a season or two afterwards, like
Mm-hmm.
didn't really need to be there. Like they could have done some other stuff, but I think because the fans were pushing like the romances and stuff, they
Oh
kind of
yeah, anime
extended
fans
it
are
type
so
situation,
cringe.
which to
Yeah.
me, they did the wrong hookups. No, Ichigo and Rukia, okay?
Rukia's 1,000 years old.
He's a Shinigami
He doesn't
demon
like older
dude
women
now.
though. She
That's
she
fine.
she is like
No,
a mega
they had
milf.
they had far better chemistry than him and
He's like
what's
a
her name?
ancient. He's ancient. She like
So she had better chemistry with oh shit, what's his name? The
Ichigo.
glasses guy. No, she had far better chemistry with him. She had
Yeah.
far better chemistry with that El Cura guy.
Oh, gosh.
Far better chemistry. She should have done that route. That'd have been awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rukia ended up with like Renji, and I was like,
He did. And Reggie is my guy. I did not want him to
yeah.
end up with her. Renji's my guy. I love Renji. Yeah.
Like, I didn't mind Renji as a character. I like him too. It's just like, isn't he just a red haired version of Ichigo for like most senses? That's that's the vibe that I always kind of got from him because they made his Bankai like shit. Like that thing was garbage.
I know. I feel bad. There's a couple of them that I kind of got like shit on in their Bankais, but it was so hype when it was coming out.
What was your favorite fight of the series? Actually,
Oh, there was a couple of them.
mm-hmm.
I gotta look back. It's been so long since I've actually watched or seen it. It's probably been about 10 years since I watched any of it.
Remember, like people forget, like Bleach had like best voted fight scenes in anime for a long time. Like
They were
Ichigo
so
versus
good.
Byakuya, that's like one of the best ones.
Byakuya was really good. I remember when he did the hollow mask for the first time, and that was hype.
Oh, freak! Yeah, I can't remember. I forgot exactly, but that was there. My personal favorite is when he fought Green Jiao the third time. That's my personal favorite one because I like Grim Jiao as a character. He was really cool. The only problem with the Espada,
I love Grim Jiao. The Espada guys. They kind of got those guys. They should have stuck around more. I really like Nell. And I really like some of those characters. The
No,
one
no,
that's
it's
like
Holly
kind of
Bell.
chibi, then she gets bigger, and then she's
No,
got the
no, it's
brain.
the where Noritoya cracked her mask because he was fucking
Yeah,
mad
the
at her. Oh
mask.
yeah, I've
She
heard.
got like the skull. I like her a lot. Yeah,
Big,
but I'm so sad about Grimjaw. I loved Grimjaw. I wish like they would have had
yeah,
like a redemption arc or something and stop killing them all the people off. Like, come on, like they could have done awesomeness.
because you said you grew up with anime, so Dragon Ball Z's creator he passed, and Kuritoma's gone
Yeah,
now. How'd you feel about that when that was
it
announced?
was really sad. Dragon Ball was a huge thing in my house. Like we were in okay, so Saturday mornings we would
Mhm.
watch Super Monkey Ball, WMAC Masters, and the OG Dragon Ball series. My bro was so big into Dragon Ball, like that was our he just came last week to pick up my PS2 so he could play the Dragon Ball games. They're coming out with another one.
Oh, the Tenkaichi games because they're coming out with
Yeah,
the fourth one of that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I
He
played
just
all those.
came
Yeah.
to pick up my PS2 so he could
Oh,
play the third
PS2.
one that I know, right? He came to play that. He
Oh
stole
my
my
goodness.
PS2 so he could play this game. Yeah. But this was a huge thing in our household. Like we watched it all the time. We rented the videos. Like we would go to Blockbuster and rent that, and we would rent Poltergeist Report over and over and over again. We didn't even know Poltergeist
Mhm.
Report was part of the Yu Yu Hakusho series because we didn't have anything that would let us look this stuff up. So we would rent it all the time. And then once we found out it was a series, we were like, what is this crap? And then we went and watched all that stuff. But yeah, Dragon Ball was huge, huge in my house. Yeah.
I didn't want to believe it when he died. I was like, it's like one
It
of those
was
things
kind
where
of shocking. Yeah.
you're like, wait a minute, that's not real. I was like, you were like, I need confirmation of this. And then when it came out, you're like,
Yeah.
fuck, this actually sucks. The guy that basically, like, I was thinking about it just a few days ago, and even when it happened, how many creators do you know for stuff that you like made something so lovable that people literally like that anime itself, Dragon Ball Z, not One Piece, not Naruto, not Bleach, and they had their own impact, but Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
specifically made people feel, think, do things that they
Dragon
never
Ball.
even thought. Like that anime itself, right there, he like transcended
Yeah.
like time. Like I don't know if anyone's ever else had that kind of like impact on them
I
to
would
me.
even branch out and say this. There were some really popular things along the way in the 80s and 90s that they would
Mhm.
air on sci-fi. I don't think if it wasn't for Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon hitting the impact that it
Mhm.
did in the 90s in the States, it wouldn't be as big as it is now. I really believe that because
Mhm.
people were so invested in both of those series when they came out. Toonami would not have been a thing if it wasn't for the popularity of those two shows.
I just don't like I swear the Dragon Ball franchise in general just it just man make people go insane. Like the whole Super Saiyan thing, Kamehameha is like the way the characters interacted. Like just that
It was so hype. It was so hype. We used to watch on the international channels on Sunday because we would get
Mhm.
the version that was airing in Japan at the time during the Cell Saga. We
Mhm.
had no idea what was going on because it wasn't subbed. It didn't even have any characters. We were just watching it. Just watching it and trying to figure out what was happening was amazing because they were doing all the Majin Buu stuff, the Cell stuff. They were doing all
Yeah.
like all that crap as it was coming out. It was just
Mhm.
so like, what is this? This is amazing. And you were just like so amped up because how they were fighting and then like just like and then the art style
And then
was great.
like and you know the fan base is so passionate because when it was revealed that basically GT's not exactly canon, people got
Yeah.
so angry because that's how invested people were. They're like, I really wanted this to be a continuation. Then later on,
Yeah.
like you got like Super and everything, and even the movies, the ones that are from like the Dead Zone to the Wrath of Dragon, those aren't like canon. Obviously, like, he just let Toei manage. Even those felt like Dragon Ball. Those really do feel like Dragon Ball Z, and those were
Yeah.
hype.
It's such a part of our like childhood that I think
Mhm.
it'll forever stay with the people that grew up in like the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s because it was just everywhere. Like you couldn't go anywhere without seeing anything to do with like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball. It was like everywhere. So yeah,
Yeah.
when you see that like Akira Toriyama passed, that's kind of heartbreaking because like that's your childhood. Like that's
I
like
feel like I would argue
crushing.
Stan Lee of anime. He made something so beloved that everyone can not just have like then, but you can also have now too.
Not just Dragon Ball, dude. Chrono Trigger.
He did Doctor Slump. He did do that.
Chrono Trigger. He did so many things. Like he was even involved in the Ni no Kuni games.
Mhm.
Like so many things in your childhood that you've probably played. What was it, Sandman?
Mhm.
Is that the other one? Like so many things. Like was Sandman or Deadman? What's the? I can picture the kid's face right now. I can't remember the actual name. It's one of those titles, but he did so many back in the day. That would just, it's amazing.
He was a creator where even when he had interviews, he was always laughing, having fun. He never talked about politics, and obviously from his side of the world, they don't he wasn't really invested into that. Well, imagine he's a filthy millionaire, so he wouldn't even give a fuck what politics were anyways. He's filthy rich. He just always a fun guy. Like, man, I remember we had the legendary Broly Dragon Ball Z DVD, the one where he's like converging and like all those little sayings around him. I remember there was an interview he had where he said his favorite villain is everyone knows Frieza, and he was talking about how much he loved doing that arc. I mean, what a great guy. Just so sad that someone like that is gone. Like someone who loved his work so much and all he cared about was just making people happy. Like you can't make people like that. That can only ever happen once in life. Like there's no one that will be like that ever again. You know.
And it united so many people with their love of like this anime, which is amazing. Like if you look at the people in like Mexico, how much it affected them because they have such a huge following of Dragon Ball down there. It's fantastic. I love that.
Edwin, what's up, man?
What's up,
and even all the other anime creators that everyone loves now, from Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, even they're like, hey, I grew up looking up to that guy. Like, that's my hero.
They became mangakas because of their love of Dragon Ball. Let me tell you, that's how that happened. Yeah.
So that day when it happened, I was like, you know what? That really does fucking suck. That is bad. It happened with YuGiOh too. Like for me, everyone knows I got into YouTube for doing YuGiOh. Kazuki Takahashi passed away. That's another big one too.
So all
he died 10 fuel from drowning. Because Kiritomo was like a heart attack or something. He died 10 fuel from drowning. Like he willingly went out to try to save people from drowning. That's
so sad.
Like, you know, YuGiOh also had its own big impact everywhere too. It's like, man, half our big impact stuff comes from Japan. Good lord, that's what happens when people are invested in telling stories and pushing political agendas. Actually, you know, you get this kind of result. Because you bring a lot of indie people. What do you think indie creators could do to put themselves out there a lot more?
Don't be afraid to talk about your content. There's a lot of indie people. Well, okay, so I'm an artist. I know a ton of artists and creators. Most of us are introverts. Most of us have a hard time talking about our work or even appreciating the work that we're doing. But don't be afraid to talk about it because you have a ton of fans out there. And there's so many amazing indie stories and artists that I think need to be told and get out there. But yeah, don't be afraid to go post stuff. Don't be afraid to go do things. But I think indie creators are doing such an amazing job getting their IPs out there, especially with all the crowdfunding platforms. This wasn't a thing that was available back in the 90s and early 2000s, but the crowdfunding thing has really changed the game on like how you're getting stuff out. It's awesome.
Another thing that I think, because I've had a lot of indie creators on from just this show specifically, like a lot of the episodes are just me having one-on-ones with indie creators. What I think a lot of them could do, and I'm not singling out anyone in particular. This is just a pattern that I've noticed is, you know, people sometimes can't talk properly, and it's not because they can't speak. It's more like they can't hold a conversation, and they haven't potentially thought about their thoughts in a really long, drawn out way to have a thorough conversation. Some of them give like the German people responses, or like the one word. Because German people is known for to give like the one word responses. On a podcast, people need to understand you can't do that because we want to hear conversations. What you have a podcast for?
Okay, so I've told people this from day one. I have two series. I have my first feature series, which is just any creator, any artist, any whatever that you want to come and promote your work. And then I have the Kick It with Kpop, which is campaign promotion stuff. I started my farthest feature because I wanted to highlight somebody that I bought a sketch cover for. I get a lot of first-time people on that have never done interviews before. And I tell them all the time, use me as your guinea pig. I am not pro. I do not care. This is a good time. We're going to chat. We're going to have fun. Use me to get practice to do better interviews. Talk about it. If you see people posting links, go, hey, jump on. It's an open platform. Jump on. You're going to get more familiarized with being on camera, more familiarized with talking. You're going to know what to say better when you are in an interview and somebody asks you questions and you will not freeze up again. So hop along there. Even if you're just in chat, just go jump in a chat. Like Edwin right now, he's in chat. Just go chill and chat. Go see what people are saying. See how they respond. Just get kind of like the flow down of what you need to do. And I would also say, if you're going to have a campaign or something out a couple months from now, start now by posting like your pre-launch links. Really get out there, post it around, get people out there so you get familiar with talking about it. You get familiar with posting what you need to post in a post to make it, stand out a little bit. just start a little bit earlier. Then just don't go live and like, oh yeah, let's start now type situation. But yeah, I would say hop in chat, hop in panels. Whenever someone says, hey, we have a free thing, just pop on here, whatever. Just start talking about it more and more, because the more you talk about it, the more people are going to see how passionate you are for your project, and they're going to want to back it more based on how passionate you are about talking about whatever it is you're talking about.
And even if you're able to do that, I would also say expand further on that, which is during a show, people kind of like the whole shameless plug thing. Yeah, people don't like that as much as they say they do. They actually don't like that at all. But what the creators sometimes need to do is kind of be able to talk about other things you like too, because that's a way to get to know someone. Like everyone knows you're probably there to promote your stuff. Like the audience can know that. Not stupid, but if they can get to know you by your favorite movies or whatever genres you like of TV, like anything,
I have had more people back a campaign on my show because somebody was a Clippers fan. Somebody liked a movie that somebody liked that was so obscure that nobody ever heard of, but the guest I had at the time liked it. And they were like, well, I'm just going to back you because you just said this. So don't be afraid to talk about your interests. Don't be afraid to talk about other things beside your book. You could go on a show and because you're promoting yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
You're promoting yourself and whatever works that you're there for, but you're there to talk about yourself so that the people that are watching want to back your product. I've asked a person a question a couple times. I'd be like, what's your book about? It's a book. You need to elaborate. I know you're going to be doing during campaign time, like 40, 50 interviews, whatever you have lined up. I know you're tired of doing the same spiel and all that stuff. If that's the case, make a video, put it in your trailer. Put something on the campaign page that we can play so you're not actually having to keep saying that over and over again, because I know people get bored with saying that over and over again. It gets really upsetting for them to say that. So do things like that so it'll make you easier doing an interview. Also, just because, let's say you've been on MSK's podcast talking about whatever, the same book, and then you come on mine. My audience is not the same. They don't know who you are. They don't know what this book is about. Just it's okay. We'll get through whatever it is that we're working on and we'll promote your stuff. But yeah, just have a good time.
Yeah, because if a person is giving off like essentially no confidence, or they're giving off a very dry performance, and remember, it could just depend on the day of like that person could have got off of work and had a bad day. It really just depends. But if the audience can feel that, like you're not enthusiastic, or you're just kind of just there because you feel like you have to be there, they're not gonna support. It's just the audience gets to decide what they throw money at. So if you want to be one of those people, you got to give them a reason to. Like, you show a campaign, the art's really good, you might get a single backer, and if that's worth it, one podcast for one backer, that might be worth it to someone. But if you really want to get more people invested, got to be someone that a lot of people can kind of get behind.
Yeah. And I know it's really hard to, especially what I was saying earlier with the introvert type personality of a creator being on a server like that. Talk about yourself. Just talk about what it is that you love about stuff. Talk about anything that it's going to resonate with somebody in the chat. Just talk about things. You don't need to really necessarily go into huge spiels about your book. Just keep talking. Have fun. It's what we do. It's fun. It's just a hangout. It's fun. We're talking. We're getting to know you. I'm not going to sit there and bombard you with a million questions. Like, we're just going to have fun. We're just talking. So just have fun. Just go on these things and expect to have fun. If you get a backer, cool. If you don't, but you gain followers from being on our show, that's a win-win, because these followers will probably back something in your future.
They'll retweet your stuff.
Exactly.
They'll like it. And I know retweets aren't the same as someone backing, but they're still retweeting it for their potential audience on their timeline. You
might get someone.
Anything matters. There's something in sports where they say every game matters, even though that's actually not true. But if you use that logic, everything matters. Actually,
I know.
What's crazy in the indie scene that people will mention? It's like, well, I don't know why this person is so driven by money. Okay, so I'm not trying to be addictive to people, but money is what matters the most. Because if money didn't matter, you wouldn't be asking for funding. Okay, you'd just be doing it out of pocket.
If money didn't matter, you would be putting everything up on webtoons and global comics.
Yeah. I get it. There's certain ethical ways that don't sit well with people. Whatever. But for someone, and so many people on Twitter be like, oh, man, why do people only care about money? It's like, well, money is definitely one of the most important factors. And someone would say, well, if you have so much money, that would sacrifice quality. Okay, there's things in life, people, that don't need to be explained. Yes, if you get a lot of money, you shouldn't sacrifice quality. That is like that shouldn't even need to be explained. That should
Yeah.
just go without saying. But
Yeah.
if money isn't the biggest factor in the world, why are you asking for people to fund your book? I'm not saying you shouldn't, but like, let's not pretend it's not a big factor. It's the most
Yeah.
biggest factor. It's the reason why
It
you're able to
is.
pay your artists, your
Yeah.
illustrators, anything.
Shipping will eat a ton of your cost out of whatever you're doing, especially if you don't weigh stuff properly, especially if you don't know, like pirate shippo, all those things. These are factors into what's going to be more cost effective for your product. I'll see a lot of times where people will put a $500,000 goal up there, or some people put 10,000, some people put 20,000. So a lot of people get upset if someone is like, their goal is a higher amount and they're getting the goal. Okay. You got to be aware too of what they're actually sending, what people are actually buying for that 20K. Sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's something more that's getting somebody on there. Plushies, keychains, whatever. Like, they have things that are add-ons that are adding that money to get up there. Also, I've seen a lot of people, because of how costly shipping is, they will not put international shipping on a campaign. If you're going to close off shipping to outside the United States, even to Canada, you're going to lose a ton of backers because people want to read your content. And then a lot of those situations, they're not even putting up a PDF version so people could back just the PDF so that somebody overseas can read it. So these are all factors that go into the pricing of your campaigns. Like, you need to think about this, and really what I would suggest, if somebody like in chat or watching this right now is thinking about doing a campaign, talk to people that you see that have campaigns. Ask them questions. Contact your printers. Contact several printers. Contact printers overseas. See what you can do to make things easier on the people that want to back your book. Talk to people that know about other ways of shipping, freight shipping overseas. See someone, if you can find someone to contact in a different country that will take your shipping from a printer over there to ship internationally around where you're at.
That's a good idea.
There's many ways that you can find something that's going to be way more cost effective for you, that's going to get you more money and get you more backers on your campaign.
The other thing I would add is, even if someone is having success on anything they're doing in the indie space, that doesn't mean that you're failing. It also doesn't mean that what they're doing is impacting anything. That is what I see a lot of people do for other individuals that are having way more success, even though this is an independent space. And so the success is largely driven by fucking, I don't know, guys, your independence. It's why it's called indie comics. It's like independent. People think because another guy's doing fucking awesome, that means that they're failing, or that means that they're taking audits from. It's like, no, that doesn't mean, that's not how that works. Like, that's just all in your head. You are just insane.
Yes. So there's also, so I see different tiers of comic companies like on crowdfunding platforms. You have your really, really, really indie people that maybe their first or second campaign that haven't really built an audience yet.
Yeah.
You guys really need to build your audiences, because the people that are getting the 10K, 20K, they've done several campaigns already. They have built that audience. They might have been around the game 10, 20 years ago and just have been built following for a long time. You even have like Image people, Scout people, even Dynamite Comics, Boom Studios, all of these guys. G.I. Joe has just hit, what is it, the #1 comic selling thing of all time?
Yeah.
I believe they just hit that.
Yeah.
So you have people like that in there, and then I have a lot of people that will go, well, that's not fair that they're on there. You do realize what crowdfunding is. It's just a pre-order for your book.
Yeah, the crowd gets to decide what they throw money at.
They're going to buy this book, whether it's on Kickstarter, crowdfunding, wherever you're at anyways. It's just a way to pre-order your form. Plus, not only that, you're getting extra bonus stuff for backing it on the crowdfunding platform that would not be on a pre-order elsewhere.
That's true.
So there's no reason to see a large campaign like that and get upset that yours isn't making that money. G.I. Joe's been around for a lifetime.
It's a household classic IP.
I think you could go to non-comic people and mention G.I. Joe, and somebody's going to know what G.I. Joe is.
The other thing, I mean, this might be a harsh truth for people, because I had an indie author on in episode 501. He's successful, $1 million books and everything. He's really successful. What he said, what a lot of people don't understand, this is a hard truth. A lot of people aren't going to really, they're not going to understand, and they're going to argue with it. But what he mentioned in that episode is that people are creating shit for an audience that doesn't care for it or want to read it. If you are creating something that people aren't interested in and have no real like business wanting that product, I should say, then the results you get is the results you get. Like, it's basically what Disney's doing. They're creating shit for an audience that doesn't exist. Their movies are failing. I mean, essentially look at that from the independent space. If you are creating like a book or anything you're doing and there's no audience there for that, or something that they specifically want to actually read and engage with, then the results you're getting are probably that you're getting kind of like the smallest and smallest of niches of audiences there. Because some of these indie books that I've read, some are kind of like the same shit I would read in like mainstream stuff. Is it better? Well, that's kind of a subjective thing. That's a flip of the coin kind of thing, That's up to how you feel about the material you're receiving, honestly.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about art in general, just music, art, whatever, creative stuff. There's something for everybody. Everyone's going to find something and resonate with a book. You might have 2 copies of something, like one from a Marvel or DC title, but then you find something in an indie place that's almost the same type of situation. They might resonate with the indie stuff first just because they like the style better. They like the storytelling better. You never know who's going to appreciate your product once you put it out there. And then also, if you guys have not done cons yet, go to cons. I would say right now, Free Comic Book Day. Plan for Free Comic Day for next year. Get a booth at your local LCS. Most of the time, they will let you stay there for free. Most of the time, they will give you snacks. I've done the last 2 comic book days at a one here where I was helping my friend just run his table. It's a good starting point, especially if you're inexperienced with meeting people in public and selling your books, because you kind of need to have a spiel going when you're trying to like get people, doing the sell, getting the thing. Do that, because I'm going to tell you right now, the more people you talk to during those things, you have to explain what the heck your book is, because you only have like split second for someone to look at your stuff and walk away. You will figure out how to reel people in. You will figure out the best way to streamline your story in a few seconds. That way you'll get better at doing it in person, in interview, whatever. But yeah, just get out there, start meeting people. And then if you also think, hey, I don't want to do that because I don't think my art is good enough to go out there. I don't have a book yet. No. I see 6-year-olds getting booths at Free Comic Book Day. I do. I see 10-year-olds. I see young adults going out there doing scribbles and hustling their scribbles because they want to be a future artist. If those kids that are out there doing that can do it, you guys can do it.
Oh, another thing is I know a lot of people on Twitter are constantly talking about like art. Okay, so I know this is kind of like a really niche but huge example. So right here, this Dogman, this art in this book is made for like kids ages of 6 to 9. There's no great art in this. This is like, look at this. That's great art to people.
It's adorable. It's adorable. And it's probably a fun read. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so the biggest like cope argument I've seen is like, but the art and this is art. No, the audience will decide what they give money to. The audience have decided, I'm going to give money to art that looks like that. Now it's just for kids.
Art is so fascinating to me because you have art in all forms. There's books that have just photo books. There's books that just have cosplay in it. There's books that are like just little stick figure scribble scratches that people love. Then you can get the fine detail. Okay, Edwin's book. His book is fantastic. The coloring that I see in his book is absolutely phenomenal. I love that book. I'm so invested in that shark guy. Let me tell you. What's up, Tate?
Hi, Tate.
You never know what someone's going to want to buy. I see people starting out have stickers of like just basic line work, but then their art ends up evolving over time. But I buy all forms of art. I buy literally every single art possible. And then you never know, like when you're going to walk past the table, I'm like, oh, hey, that's amazing. I see people do like anime cats. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I have to buy this, but I don't normally buy cat stuff. And I've been picking that stuff up, but you really don't know. So don't sell yourself short because you think someone's not going to purchase it. Put it out there. Just
and if there's no audience for it, well, you might want to change your strategy. You might want to change up the genre you're in, or people might just be interested. There's only so many avenues you can really go with. I wouldn't really go if people are interested. You might still know who you are. You might just have to get out there and advertise more. Like, you go to your local books, go to your local library. stand outside, try to
Yes.
sell to people.
Libraries are fantastic. If you go to a library, I'm telling you right now, and you have a book, okay, let's say it's not an adult book, but it's a book that will resonate with a ton of people. They will probably let you go do a table, or they will probably let you go do a meet and greet, especially if it's more along the lines, okay, your dog book right there, children, teenagers, whatever, they will probably let you come and talk to the class about either creating comics, how you get into comics, forms of art, or whatever. But it's a way for you to get your art out there. It's also a way for you to get in touch with the parents as well, because the parents are usually creators, or they're people that really enjoy this works as well. So there's many forms of ways for you guys to get out there and get your stuff out there. But yeah, just go out there, just do it, because that's for me as an artist myself. I hated showing people my art for years. I hated my art for the first 35 years I was doing art. I only recently started liking it. But just changing up art and experimenting and figuring stuff out. I have always been a horror fan my entire life, but I only stuck to doing pencil portraits. Okay?
You're the horror movies as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Super horror movies.
Yeah, imagine you haven't been very thrilled with how they've been treating Jason right now.
No, I really hope that he comes back in some form of something, because it's one of my favorite franchises of all time.
It's crazy. The last movie that came out was in 2009. That's when I was a freshman in high school. We've not had a live action Friday the 13th movie in 15 years. How much has happened since 2009 until now?
Well, there was licensing issues with a couple of the characters, so they couldn't do anything, and then they kind of jumbled back and forth. But however, if you like fan-made films, there are some amazing Friday the 13th fan films. There's actually a follow-up to number 7 with the same cast. There's Never Hike Alone, 1 and 2. Go check those out. They're awesome. They're films. They're great. They're fan films, but they're amazing. Because of licensing, they couldn't do some stuff, but I really wanted that TV series to be made, because I really like that character and I like the franchise.
I remember they said they're still doing it, but the original person that they had attached to it for A24 is not going to be doing it.
Yeah,
but then again, that could mean anything, because we could be in a Blade movie situation where the guy's let go, and then a couple months from now on, and then a couple months from now on, from here on out, oh, the other guy, he's gone. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and it didn't really help with the writer's strike thing too, so that kind of probably but honestly, especially the way with the MCU is going, it was probably for the best. They were putting so much content out there, they were losing their quality. I think people need to scale back on the big expensive stuff. Go small. Get people that are unknown actors. Get people, whatever. Cut your costs down. Go back into practical effects.
About it. Mia Goth was asked a question about the Blade movie, and people don't understand that the reason why the interview means nothing is she can't just fucking go on an interview and be like, man, they're fucking trash. Their process sucks. These guys, she obviously has to say that stuff. That really means nothing. We know they have not been treating this movie in its process good. Mahershala Ali's lawyer was like, yeah, they've literally done nothing. So even from the reports that we've read, when they said they were going to start filming, have been lies. They've done nothing.
Yeah, so I really think that's where the movie situation needs to go. They need to cut back on the name of the actors that are involved. Because the moment you hire, any of the OG Avengers cast, you're already looking at millions of dollars just to put them in a film. Go get no-name people. Find somebody that's maybe either an actor just starting out. They're going to do fantastic, because all these guys, when they first started, were just kind of building their name. They weren't. These characters made them who they are now. Like that's what you're going to find. Especially like Wesley Snipes, huge action star back in the day.
Yeah.
Brandon Lee from The Crow. His career would have blown up if it wasn't for that accident during that movie. There's so many people that you could get right now that will do that. But also, stop trying to rush the CGI. The CGI, like, oh my God, the MODOK thing. That was horrendous.
Because that's the same thing that I talked about with some of the people that I have from my panel shows, which is when you give someone something so much of something that was special, they don't treat it the same. It's not about like even superhero movie fatigue, which is also a part of it. It's literally, how do I tell people? It's not a honeymoon phase. But when you have the MCU, I'll use it MCU as an example. So we're talking about that. The MCU, you got it every once in a while, which was basically you got 2 movies a year, right? That's a special thing. It was an event. Then when it came to, they kept releasing. It was really just the 2021 and 2022 period. In 2021, we had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home. Okay. Then for the TV side, we had WandaVision, a week break. People are just barely digested WandaVision. Then they went Falcon Winter Soldier. 2-week break. After you just barely digested that shit. Then Loki. Then What If. Then Hawkeye. We were supposed to get Miss Marvel in 2021 too, but they moved it to 2022.
Exactly. So if you want your fans, to really appreciate the product that you have out now, give them time, because I'm telling you right now, you put something out today, all the people that are huge in here, TikTok, the reaction people, all the people that have content based on whatever is happening in those movies are going to talk about it for a few months. So if you pile stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff, you're losing out on the interaction and the promotion that they're doing for you for free, by the way, in that scenario. So they need to space it out more. Don't worry about rushing content out. Worry about just focusing on making a really good quality film.
Yeah, because
go to practical effects. Do something.
It just doesn't feel special anymore.
No, it doesn't feel special.
That's the reason why a lot. And then not only are you getting too much of it, it's bad. So not only is it not special, I do agree, people. Yes, in a hypothetical world, if it was good, what the fuck that's supposed to mean? I think people would have been okay with it, but that still doesn't mean the numbers wouldn't have dropped. The numbers would still drop. The numbers are still going to drop because it's not a special thing. There's nothing special about this anymore. When you were getting so much of it, I just told you right there, if you was watching, that was 10 projects in 2021, 6 shows and 4 movies. That has to
which was amazing as well, because during the lockdown era, there were so many movies that went straight to on demand. That didn't get the release in the theater, and they could have waited a little bit and put them in the theater release instead of just putting them online.
Like streaming day and date, that big guy. That was horrible.
So people,
that was
bad. But I mean, it was interesting because a lot of people couldn't get those online.
Right. Yeah.
Not every place has access to like the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
They don't have access to it, so that kind of cut out a lot of the revenue that they were making from those. But also you kind of split the fan base as well, because you couldn't go see that, and people already saw it and then they were talking about it, and then if people didn't like it, then the ones that saw it they were doing whatever they were saying about it. Because like I said earlier, I grew up in a time where movies were not the greatest.
Sure.
They were just starting out. They were not the greatest. But even the ones that come out to now and people are like, oh, that's a crappy one, I still enjoy those movies because I like seeing those characters on the screen. Even if you complain about a movie, you're still giving it press. You're still talking about it. You're still doing stuff for it. If that's the case, they should listen to the people when they have like, okay, just slight little things that you guys can change. You could easily alter that for the next movie and just take extra care of that. Because you're talking to people that have had a fan base since the 60s. A long time. So the people that you're really aiming for are the people that have been around for the diehard fans for a long time. Not the people that you're trying to get now that are going to get into them because they see it on a movie theater. You're campaigning for the people that have been around and have been fans of these for decades. And I think that's a lot of the Disney has lost that. They forgot about that because they're trying to build audience for the new people.
Well, keep in mind, it wasn't just Marvel. I mean, DC has not helped with creating good superhero content either. And people have to understand, when the superhero craze that happened, people have to understand how peaks and lows work. It peaked, and then obviously when something's not as new as it once was, it's just going to fizzle out. Like Westerns, horror was really big. That started
happens all the time. It goes in like patches of stuff.
What's the saying? It ebbs and flows. I don't understand why people just can't understand this. The superhero genre was going to ebb and flow at some point. It's just how this works. It's just how it is.
It does. Know? Like there were a huge thing of sports movies back in the day. Remember? Like they'll go in and out of those.
Yeah.
You'll go in like kids movies, animated films, all that stuff. It goes
medieval movies were big, and then they're
all that stuff.
I don't know if you saw The Northman with Nicole Kidman in it. But people are asking, like, well, why aren't they making movies like this anymore? Because they don't sell. There's not an audience. There is an audience for them, but that doesn't attract people in theaters, you know? At the end
Yeah.
of the day, I understand it is a business, so they should make movies that put butts in seats. Like you, I always tell people this. I understand it from their point of view that someone saying they're going to pay for something versus what they're actually going to pay for is two different things. You know, someone can
Yeah.
say like, you know what, I really, really like apples. I love the way they taste. Now, are they really going to go to the store and buy apples? You know, probably not. The DC fans do that a lot. The DC fans always tell, I love these ideas. These ideas sound great. Okay, where are you guys at in the movie theaters? You're lying. You know, happens all the time.
I can tell you right now, when the Tim Burton Batman 89 came out
Mhm.
and when Batman Returns came out, those movies were so hyped up. They were great. They were fantastic. When you saw those at the drive-in, because that's how I saw them, we freaked out for like the whole year talking about this Batman film. We loved the Batman film. And it was spaced out so well because there wasn't that much content for it, like the comic type thing. There were a couple of movies around the same type of era, but you weren't inundated with just so overwhelming amount of stuff. Like I can't even keep up with the amount of stuff that's on the MCU just on Disney. There's no way. I have not even watched WandaVision, just how much stuff, and then the Star Wars stuff, forget it. I watched season 1 of Mando, and just so much crap has happened in my life that I haven't watched anything of the other Star Wars stuff since, because I can't keep up with anything going on right now until my life calms down at the moment. But yeah, there's just like far too much, like just they're thrown at you. And it's just like,
yeah, even in comics too. I like, even for movies and comics and shows, I haven't been able to keep up with a lot of it. I'm just gonna take it one show, one comic, one movie at a time, and just chip away at it as much as I can, because there's just too much stuff. And then we throw in making actual content yourself. There's news that pops up. There's like, there's just so much stuff. There's not enough time in the day for this stuff actually anymore.
No. Especially if you have a show, it's so hard to keep up with anything else besides what you're doing in your show.
Yeah.
My show kind of exploded. I didn't expect to do this many streams in a week. I did not expect that whatsoever. So just the amount of prep work it takes to just do one show, it's a lot. Like you got to post stuff, promote it, you got to make thumbnails, you got to do all kinds of stuff, you got to invite guests, work a date and time out. Just doing that alone is a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, I'll eventually get back to like watching content. It's just I kind of need a break from like the stuff that I have been watching, plus, you know, all this stuff here. What? Yeah.
Tip Prime says, "Yep, I waited in line with the full size bat signal." People like, yeah, man. Looking at the videos back in the day of people that were super excited for movie premieres, I remember even when I was a bit younger, like the Twilight movies that people like camping outside of theaters, the Harry Potter movies that people camping out, like the excitement. Yeah. Whatever happened to like the excitement for movies like that? People used to camp out for movies.
Because I think people are just so overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that is, well, just in their life right now, but also the amount of content that keeps getting thrown out. They don't have that wait time to build up. Like when the Star Wars prequels came out, that was humongous. Even if you like them or not, when those came out, people were freaking out about it because it was so long in between a movie for that people camped out. They did that. They even made the Fanboys movies based on all that stuff. Like there was so much content going around based on those giant events like that, because we didn't have as much stuff like that thrown in our faces like every day. Like every day. How much stuff is dropping today right now because of all the comic and content things? Even like the new comic book day stuff. That gets overwhelming itself. Like I'm fried on that new comic book day stuff.
Even on the free comic book day, there was so much stuff they were trying to do. Man, there was stuff for Valiant, Marvel, DC, obviously, but there was just stuff for like a whole ton of different freaking IPs.
Popeye came back. Popeye, like Popeye.
Yeah, and it's just like how's the average person gonna keep up with that? Like I'm barely able to do it. I couldn't imagine like like a father taking care of like two kids. You know,
free comic book day is my favorite day of the year. I've been doing it since the very, very first one. I've only missed 2 the entire time that they've been doing it. I make it a day. I plan this out months ahead of time, and I will start at one end of the state and work my way around in a giant circle and come back home. But the last 2 years, I've been doing a couple stores here and there, then heading down to State of Comics, where I was helping Jason Douglas run his booth for the last couple of years. But in order to get some of these titles, not every store has some of the titles that you want, because you have to pay for them. a lot of people don't realize the stores have to pay for the books to get them shipped to them for you guys to come pick up. A lot of people don't realize this. And
yeah, a lot of people think if you buy a book from the store, Marvel, DC get a percent. No. People understand there's a distributor. They order them, and the store buys them from the distributor.
Yep.
So essentially, basically, the reason why DC and Marvel don't really have to improve on anything because they're already getting paid up front.
Yeah. So in order to get I will start at 9 a.m. and go to some stores. Even I might go there and it just opens. Most of the stores don't have some of like the adult titles. Because a lot of comic stores, which is interesting, will only say Free Comic Book Day is for kids. They will only say it's free comic book days for kids. Oh, yeah, they will say you can't have adult titles. We're not going to put the adult titles in our store. It's only for children. So even if you go, they will limit like the adults, or they'll give like, okay, kids could get more because they're kids. We're trying to get them hooked on books and titles now. So a lot of times when you go to a store, they don't have the adult section books for Free Comic Book Day. So you really don't know what stores are going to have what books until you go to the store. So a lot of times you'll be running around all day long, or I even have friends will hit me up and be like, my store didn't get this. I can't find it anywhere. If you find a copy, please give it to me because they don't have them. Or they'll just buy such a small amount of them. They don't have a full set for everybody to come pick up.
Gosh, there's just, man, you're looking at all this stuff coming on Pure Fact Factory, and it's not even just the new stuff. They're reprinting stuff constantly. They're putting out basically, essentially, there's a lot of trades that drop of already collected stuff. There's omnibuses that dropped. It's just so much. Honestly, if you weren't into it, I could understand why you be hesitant on getting into it to keep up with everything. Like I said before, like you mentioned earlier, try to start small. Few characters from a company here and there. Just keep up. Because once you're able to do it and get into a few characters, it becomes a lot more easier. And I would also say there's a great website that I got into a long time ago. It's also helped me keep track of new stuff getting releases. LeagueofComicsGeeks.com.
Okay.
You can also put, if you understand, you can put a wish list on there if you want to put something in your pull list there. It's just a place to just basically organize the stuff that's coming out weekly, omnibuses, trade. That's always a website I recommend. But as you know, comics cost a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money. It's just, it's a huge money pit.
Well, if you buy the amount of comic books that I know that some people do, I know some people that drop $300 a week on new Comic Book Day comics. I stopped buying new Comic Book Day comics. I've only been backing like the campaigns right now. It's only what I'm doing. Because even when you're backing a campaign that gets pricey, like I'm a super backer on Kickstarter. I've backed so many campaigns, like I need to start slowing down on what I'm backing because it's just too much. So what I do is I'll back campaigns, but I go and I have fun digging in back issues, just picking up stuff. And if you start shopping at stores and you pick up, let's say 5-10 back issues, they'll probably give you a good discount on, if they cost $1, they'll probably say, oh, I'll do 50 cents per book or whatever. They'll give you a cheaper discount if you keep returning to buy those back issue bins because they're trying to get rid of that inventory so they can buy other things in their store. So start there because a lot of times you'll find exclusives, ratios, blah, 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 blahs, whatever, that you're paying super high dollar for today. Next month, they're going to be in the dollar bin. Just saying, give it a month or two. You're going to find some stuff in there and just go explore your bins. Go explore other places. Ollie's. There's like 5 other stores that are starting to do packs of comics now. Go start there. Figure out what you want.
Yeah. I'll always tell people, kind of figure out what kind of budget you have for stuff is also a nice thing too. If you only want to pick up like collected stories, literally go on Amazon. They have a bunch of that shit for like less than $7.
Amazon is amazing for collected editions and trades. They even have single comic books on there. I was huge in COVID era buying mystery lots on eBay and just giant lots.
Oh, those. Oh, God.
I love those so much. It's also why I got up to from 7 to 30 boxes of comics. Okay. Another thing for people just getting into comics, make sure you have space in your house for it.
Just get a bunch of McDonald's boxes and throw them in there.
Make sure you have space to put these in because let me tell you, a box, and I would stick with short boxes, not long boxes, because long boxes get heavy.
You imagine you just want a bunch of guys to carry them for you.
Hey, I should rack up a harem just so that they can move my comics around in my house would be nice because just trying to lift a box, oh, that sucker is heavy. Yeah.
For me, I don't have a comic shop around me. I would have to go out of town for that. It's like not that far away. It's like 30 minutes away. So I have to order my new comics off eBay and just the the shipping alone. So like the average book I gotta pay for. So if it's like $4.99, I'm paying like $3.99 in shipping. So it's like $10 essentially a
Yeah.
piece. There are some weeks I have to get like 5 new books actually for each series I'm following, and that could definitely be like, oh my goodness, let's get the gun out.
You can find some online stores that are really good because they just have online shops only. That you can get that, and they already have discount codes, so the shipping factor will be way cheaper if you bundle up a bunch of stuff.
That's
Especially
what I
like
thought about
the
doing
ratios.
too. Just going to like shops that just have basically just going to like shops and just getting the newest titles just because it's they're going on eBay and just picking them all out. It's like fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, you can be in my harem anytime. What's up, Crystal? What's up, Christina? Yeah.
Oh, Christina, how are you doing? If you are new here, if anyone's new here, I would recommend subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you around. I am just keep in mind, I'm a no filter kind of person. I kind of always got to speak my mind. Doesn't mean I'm like trying to insult people, you know.
All my homies that are popping up in here are also no filter. We actually refer to Tate as taint. So.
And yes, women aren't allowed to vote. I'm just kidding. If I was really like that, I'd be getting beat up right now. But yes, man, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we are almost to 1,000 subs. So
nice. You know, let's go. And then 1,000 subs.
I can just give you all of my clout. Actually, I can just basically blow my clout. Nope, not going there. So, what's something I was mentioned? Oh. Another thing that comics have been doing, that Marvel has been doing, which is a really good idea. So I know people like omnibuses because they look good and they look cool. I love them too, but they're expensive. What Marvel has done is they did it before, but they've more emphasized on it. You can basically get what is considered an epic collection. Essentially, it is a hybrid of a trade paperback and an omnibus. They retail for little. They retail for like $44.99. Arguably, you can get them cheaper on like the stores you said. You can literally get epic collections. Basically, it's more bang for your buck. It's like the idea of getting a new car versus a used one, right?
Yes.
If you want to just basically get contained, isolated stories, like let's say you're into Star Wars, get the Star Wars epic collections. You don't gotta get the big fancy stuff. Get the epic collections all in order. They're all ordered, volume 1 through whatever storyline you're getting, right?
Yeah.
And you're just more bang for your buck. You get a big book, whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of annuals you never knew existed. And $50 signs you up. I'm doing that for X-Men. X-Men, I'm getting everything epic collection because
nice. I've actually been really big into picking up a lot of like the image omnis that have been on campaigns because one, I like the way that they look on the shelf better. But two, I can get rid of the single issues that I don't need anymore and just keep a really good looking omni on my shelf. So you're getting a ton of content in here. Not only that, they usually come signed Mark Silvestri. So I've been really enjoying these as opposed to, and then giving away my singles to people that want to get into books. So I've been picking up these and giving rid of my singles just because I don't need it anymore. And it's just easier to A-OK somebody some stuff than it is to try to sell it at this point. But I've been having a lot of fun with that. And I can't wait for more of those because they're super high quality. And I really enjoy thanks, Tate. I really enjoy that because it's refreshing my memory and getting back into a series that I haven't usually seen in a long time. And I like that. What is up, buddy? What's happening?
Hi, buddy. How you doing, man?
Yeah.
If you're new here, then subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you around some more. Glitter and duct tape. Yeah. That is something a horror movie people would do. Okay. Hope you're
Crystal
not insane.
Is awesome. Yeah, Crystal is good peeps. What's up, Crystal? What's up, TM?
What if she's secretly like Jeffrey Dahmer? We would never know. She's
with style.
Insane.
And also, glitter is probably the worst possible thing that you could do to somebody because if you throw glitter at somebody, you're going to be fighting that 10 years from now. So that's the truest form of torture. Yeah.
So, because you've been in the comics for a very long time, I'm pretty sure you saw the clownfish tweet. Dale, I think it's from Dale Q, whatever. I forgot his name. Jesus Christ. The clownfish guy. He made the tweet where he was like, comics have a lot of drama for the amount of money you can make in them. And I was thinking to myself, damn, that might have been the biggest, harshest piece of facts I have ever heard. Comics have so much drama when the amount of money you can even make off doing this is basically like, literally, do anything else. You could probably make more money going to a Walgreens and putting groceries in a bag than doing this. And that's sad. That is really sad to think about, actually.
So
hi, Tim.
There's also a lot.
TM.
Yeah, TM.
Hi,
Yeah,
TM.
he just swapped back to his regular account. What's up, TM? Yeah, so there's a lot of guys that have been in the industry and they don't make as much money as some of the other guys, or they've
Mhm,
been in the industry, but they don't getting the credit that they're supposed to in the books. Like their name will
mhm,
be omitted in the books,
mhm,
which I think is crap. Because if you're going to work with somebody, I don't even care if they do one tiny little detail in a book, credit them, put their name in there. Even just put it on the page, go blah blah blah. Did whatever he did, they did on
mhm,
this thing, but as long as like there's also doesn't matter where you go, there's going to be drama and there's going to be people vying over
mhm.
like the money type situation. There's a lot of that I see too on just the YouTube side where people are just like campaigning hardcore to get to like the 500 or the 1K just so that they get monetized, but then they turn around and don't treat the people the way that they used to anymore because now they're making money. And it's a weird dynamic of how that works, but just be yourself. Just go out there, just be you. Like, who cares if you're monetized? Like, I just recently got monetized. I'm not making a big deal out of it. If people want to, don't. Fine, that's cool.
Oh yeah, I
But
forgot. They now 500 subs, you can get super chats and memberships. I
yeah,
remember when they I remember all back in the day you just get paid off YouTube just throwing out videos. Yeah, that was long time ago. They changed all that stuff actually.
they did. So yeah, a lot of people used to vie big time to get the 1K. But like, if I was doing this just to make money, I would have stayed on Twitch. I've been an affiliate on Twitch for like 10 years, whatever.
I imagine after the Doctor Disrespect situation, you're like, man, Twitch, that company's so garbage. That company's trash.
I've like kind of taken a break due to personal reasons on the Twitchy poo
Mhm,
for a couple of years now. That's kind of why I moved to the YouTubes, but
mhm,
I'll eventually go back because all my art guys are on Twitch and I miss them. So I'll
mhm,
eventually go back, just go hang in their chats. But I had to take a severe break from that just due
mhm.
to some stuff that was happening. Yeah,
Yeah, for me, we were on Twitch. Well, we still are. I have just
yeah.
not this show on there. I'll do like game streams on there, watch parties. We have the other podcast goes through there, and then those get uploaded to Rumble. It's just Twitch is. I'm not to say it's really hard to grow on. It's just more like, fuck. It's just not a good platform, and just in terms of
It's
discoverability, you could live stream there like I did 7 days a week, and then end up with nothing, and that is
yeah.
just bad.
The thing about Twitch and the thing about YouTube and all these
Mhm,
other sites out is you have to network.
mhm,
You have to go into other people's streams. You have to befriend people. That's how you're going to grow your audience. So if people
mhm,
are looking to get started, that's how you're going to get your subs. If even
mhm.
if you just go say hi somewhere, even if you don't do content, usually people will follow you because they
Yeah,
like
just
you.
getting involved. Yeah, yep.
Yes. That's how most people grow their audience. That's how I've grown my audience. I've had a lot of people on my Twitch that have known me 10, 15 years that have followed me to YouTube and thoroughly hate YouTube, but will come and just chat in my thing, and half of them come on my panel or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting mix of just how things work. But yeah, just go and talk to people, meet people, go befriend people, because that's how you're going to grow. And not only that, you're helping somebody else out that your channel likes the content, so you're just not going to follow each other, and you're going to go hang out in each other's streams anyway. So
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
that's why I
lie.
know all these dudes.
You
Yeah.
gave me the best advice when picking out newer titles, not from eBay, because I would just go there and just pay the shipping for it. And to be fair, it does help out the individual seller. I just thought to myself, why don't I just go on mycomicshop.com and just pick?
My comic shop is a good one. Economics and
Yeah.
Comics is a good one. If you need discount codes, Econ is this code, you get 6% off. You can do a whole bunch of other stuff. They ship overseas. There's a bunch of other stores like that as well that you could bundle and save money on. And if you want to do FOC for like ratios, you could get a whole group of it in a bundle and save way more money. So
Do it. No, always. Epic Collection is the reason why I would say
yes.
do it right now. Not because it'll increase in value, because these things don't increase in value. It's more like you could just get it right now, and then when you want to just read it later on, it'll be there, and you already bought it. That's why I said if you people
Yes.
want to get certain runs of comics, get them. If you can't read them at the moment, you could just read it later. There's no reason why you shouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic. Yeah, I do really like the way that Marvel did that. The Epic Collection thing is a great idea. The problem with it is that when they reprinted like number ones of stuff from a character's first original appearance, the Epic Collection first appearances of characters are a lot of money. Like the Amazing Spider-Man stuff to get into Epic Collection, number one, that first big giant book is like
Ooh.
$200 because it has
Whoa.
amazing fantasy and it starts the Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man line. It's like, well, fuck, just bend me over and fuck me twice, right, Marvel? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so what I really like about what DC and Marvel are doing right now is all
Mhm,
of the I don't like calling them facsimiles because that's just a stupid word. The
mhm,
reprints I
Mhm.
am huge into the foil reprints because I like the
Mhm.
quality on those, but I also like the look of how they look. Even if you just want to display it, they look really cool in a foil.
Mhm.
But I like the fact that I can go back and reread something that has not been around forever, and I don't have to pay $1 billion to get like whatever it is that they're trying to put out there.
Mhm.
I like that I can have that. I love my Hulk 1A ones. I love my I also love that they're doing the blanks for those as well because I'm big into art. I know a lot of people that are big into art and they like drawing on those. So the fact that they're coming out and doing those sketch covers for those books is getting people to not only just repurchase those for the first time, but also to read them for the first time and find out about these characters that are coming out because people like the foils. So you can buy them now. Like a lot of sites will still have them for $4 or $5 before they start getting big on some other channels, but you can still buy them for pretty decent prices. Even at cons, you could get them. But
I
I
want to
really
ask you
like those.
this because you grew up with this series. Because I didn't watch this growing up because I thought it was mega cringe. Do you know Dynamite Entertainment did the new Thundercat series,
Yes.
right? Did you
Mhm.
hear good things about the new Thundercat series in terms of the comics? Actually,
I have a lot of diehard fans that really enjoy that series,
hmm
and I have some that have critiqued it to all hell.
oof,
But I love Thundercats. I've actually rewatched it not too long ago. The whole entire
held
series
up.
was one of my favorite things growing up. I adore it. I love the covers that are coming out. I actually have a lot of my art buds that have covers for that right now.
Okay,
Um, I love that they're taking the thing that I like about the Dynamite is what they're doing is they're taking properties from the 80s and 90s that we grew up with as children and they're
hmm
bringing it into light now and it's becoming
hmm
so popular because people are really gravitating toward that but they're also getting their kids into the books,
hmm
which I think is amazing because it's going to keep lasting because they have the collection right now for the Darkwing Duck on. It's on Kickstarter right now. It's
saw that.
doing
Yeah. hmm
massively amazing. And I love that they're doing that. I love that they're bringing fresh light into something that we grew up with. Like the
Right.
same thing with the He-Man. People loved or hated the He-Man series that came out the last
hmm
couple of years. I'm so ready for the Silverhawks to come out. I loved that show when I was a kid. I wanted more of it. So there's a lot of series that I'm seeing that are coming out that I loved during the 80s that I just want purely for nostalgia reasons.
hmm
So I grab these books when they come out because I love them because that's my childhood. But yeah,
hmm
I really love the Thundercats and all that stuff that comes out. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
I was thinking about just grabbing issue one for the newest run and just seeing how it works. Also, really, even with like TV, if you are on a fence about a series, grab issue one. See
Yeah.
if it doesn't get you, then don't put it on your pull list. Actually, what was crazy is that how people were mad at Eric July for charging like $35 for his first book. I'm like, have you people have never bought comics in your life? If you literally buy two trade paperbacks, that's already $40. As most of them retail for like 20 each. I was
Do you
like,
know how much it
is $35 a lot? I was like, you people are broke. Like what?
uh so depending on your pages in your book, most comics right now, let's say if you get a
24,
regular
28 pages, right?
24,
Yeah.
24, 28. Those were I see anywhere go from $10 to $30 anyways, depending on what campaign it is. I don't care what it
Right.
is.
Yeah.
I see 48 pages go to 25 to $30. Anything more than that, I see go for a higher amount of value anyways.
Mhm.
And if you doesn't really matter because the same thing with selling. Let's say I pick up a book right now and I want to sell it. I value what this book is worth.
Mhm.
I put it on there. If somebody is willing to pay that amount of money for that, that's what somebody is willing to pay for that book.
Right?
That's
People
how
have
eBay
shown,
works. That's how
yeah,
reselling works. That's how
yeah.
all of this works. Yeah.
People have shown that they'll literally give a person hundreds upon hundreds of dollars for an art piece in a comic book, as long as because they wanted that specific cover.
Yeah.
A cover, not even what's in the book. Just they want to look at that cover specifically. You know.
I know people that
hmm
don't read books, but will specifically buy every exclusive and every ratio for a book just to have the covers
hmm
in their collection, but they refuse to read the books. You can't get upset with somebody for how much they're charging for their book compared to somebody else's book because if the
hmm
demand is there, go for it.
Yeah.
People collect things for the weirdest reasons.
Yeah. hmm
Weirdest reasons. There is a huge, huge, huge part of the community that loves the adult covers.
Mm-hmm.
There is a massive chunk of that community that people will shit on those people for liking that. You can't do that. People collect anything. People love whatever it is that they like. And if they're buying those books to keep comic people in business, let them buy it.
I've always said that too. Like, it's already hard to make money in the niches that this is, and then people are complaining about what audience yeah, like I do agree people should be reading the books because you can get the word of mouth in there and you can
Yeah.
tell people, yeah, you should be doing that. But if the audience is like, hey, I'm buying this guy's books because I like him, who cares? I mean, that's great for that person.
So yeah, like we talked about this earlier. Like I said, I had people back people's campaigns because the sport teams they like, because some guy was wearing a blue
Yeah.
shirt, because somebody had a poster of something they liked on their childhood on their back of their wall. People do weird things when it comes to items. You have no idea why people are going to buy some stuff. It's amazing. But yeah, just if you like something, just support it. Just like it. You shouldn't be worried about what somebody else thinks because you're collecting something. You also shouldn't be crapped on for the collection that you have as well.
Yeah, the
I
only thing that
buy weird books. I buy stuff. I don't necessarily buy keys. I don't necessarily buy stuff. If I'm going somewhere and I see something and it resonates with me and I want it, I'll buy it.
Yeah. You know why I think it's a problem with people? It's because they're broke. A lot of broke people talk like that. Now, all broke people talk like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if you're having money issues, everyone has that sometimes, just you'll get through it. But the reason why I say to read the books for the indie creators is because if you read the books for the indie creators and you talk about them, you spread word of mouth, that just helps them,
Yeah.
Because like for the indie creators, reason why that matters more to them, like rather than like Marvel and DC and Image stuff, is because they already have big audiences. They're going to care about their stuff. And indie creators need that word of mouth. An indie creator needs people to talk about their books because they're smaller. They need that word of mouth to spread to get the good word that their books are good. Now, that's been a big problem. And I don't know if because you've read a lot of more indie stuff too. Why do you think people buy the stuff, get it, support the person, it's fine, but they don't read it? That's the problem that people are coming with.
I know
audience aren't reading the property.
So I can't understand that. Like I can understand if you buy like a ton of stuff, you can't get around to reading it right now, but you can read it later.
Yeah.
But I know people that just collect stuff for covers and just refuse to read it. They don't care. They don't care about the story. They just want the cover of the book that whatever it is they're buying. I know a ton of people in this community that do that. And you know what? If you're just doing that to support an artist and support something, you're still buying a comic book. You're still supporting people. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't get shit on either because they are still part of our community. They are still part of the art, the stories, whatever. They might not know the stories.
Yeah.
They're still collecting. They're still supporting what it is that you love. So people shouldn't get crapped on for how they collect. They shouldn't get crapped on for what they collect. It just, if they're collecting, that's cool. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I would just say if people aren't reading the stuff, it's mostly because maybe, the harsh reality could be they don't think you're all that good. But you have to give them a reason to read it then. Show, like you said, talk about your story. Show them. Give them a reason to read the book. You know?
That's also what, like Tate said earlier. He says he's broke, but digital is a godsend. I know a lot of people getting into digital, because it's a way to get an entire series for super half the price usually, or even less. That sometimes they just give you free freebies for downloads or whatever. Just go check out stuff. Like there's a lot of people right now, they have free previews of an Ash can or their first issue up that you could go get right now. So that you get interested in what it is that the series is all about. But it's also good too, because myself, glasses, getting older, I can put a digital book on my tablet. I can put it on my computer. I can blow the thing up. I can zoom in on it. And I also like that too, because I love looking at art. I love looking at the details. I love looking at coloring and all that stuff. I like the digital versions because I can do that on the computer. If there's a tiny, tiny scene and you can't really see it, you can make it humongous to zoom in to actually look at what it is on there. And I get far more appreciation for the artists when I see that, and I can actually take a look at that and really explore the art that way.
Oh, what's the other thing I wanted to mention? Let's see. Maybe when my wife was talking to me. Do it again, guys. I have no wife.
Oh,
she doesn't exist. She's my anime pillow.
This is my hubby, okay?
I need to get. I need to read what I get. Sometimes I splurge on variant covers, but it has to be a series I'm picking up. But that's just me. Yeah, I think it's because sometimes if you buy so much stuff, you're just overwhelmed at just getting it done. That
Yeah.
you feel like it's just too much. Also, if you have a big stack of books that you're waiting on reading, just chip one away. You have to do it all at
Yeah.
once. Just do one at a time. It's not
I
that bad.
I have a bunch next to me that I can't wait. I'm very excited that my business that I'm in is either closing or we're going to be reducing hours because that way I can get back to more me time and reading and actually doing art and stuff.
Mhm.
But the one thing that really kind of annoys me about the exclusives and the ratios and stuff is if I'm back issue hunting and I'm trying to complete a run on a book and I find a cover, I'm like, oh, I don't have that yet. And it's going to be an issue I don't need. And I take it home and I'm like, I have 15 of that same issue. It gets kind of annoying because it's hard to figure out what you have. Because I come from the days of there was one cover for a book.
Yeah.
You might have got you might have got a newsstand at one time, or you might have come polybagged or unpolybagged at the time, but you're used to coming in with one issue per book. So if I find a book or a series, I'm like, okay, I don't have that. I can just pick it up. Now I really have to spend my time and figure out if I have this or not because I have no idea because there are sometimes hundreds plus of one issue in a book now. And it's like, that is too overwhelming. It's too overwhelming for me, but also I know people that buy every single issue of that. I don't understand how they store that or anything, but yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, for me, I'll buy like omnibuses of things because I think that's more bang for your buck. But then they've been doing this a lot more now. They release like digestible reader copies that are like smaller, and I'm like, well, that's not
I
a bad
love
idea to have that.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like those ideas. That's a great idea. But you're like, fuck, I already bought this and I have this in a bigger format. Do I
I
just read that?
know.
Yeah, it just comes with collecting too much stuff. And people are like, are you buying stuff? Stuff? I ain't selling none of this shit, guys. This was going in a box somewhere.
Listen. If I'm buying something, I'm not reselling it. It's going to my hoard.
A lot of people keep
No.
saying that. Like, I'm buying this stuff to like fucking keep. I'm not buying to sell.
No, I'm buying it because I want it. Like I want it. Okay, now if I grow out of it and I end up collecting like 3 copies of it for some reason, I'll just give those to people. Like the amount is going to take me to sell that, and yeah, I probably got it for 10 cents anyways. Like just take my thing. I don't care at this point. Yeah.
And then when I get paid, I gotta get a few things. I'll say
Yeah.
And by a few things, I mean a lot of things.
Few things. Yeah, okay. So if you buy a stack of books, you come back from a con. So that's going to tell you right now, you need a bag and board protectors. You need to buy those, and you need to probably buy another box as well. So you're going to have to buy supplies for your books.
You crazy woman! I'm just going to use my hands. I went to
No. I mean, for your books,
shit. They didn't have any bags. So she was like, you can buy our other bags for $20. I'm like, I'll just carry them. And no, it was hard. That dumb shit was heavy. I'm not gonna lie.
What I'm doing is what I do now. If I go to a con, I bring my it's like a giant Gemini box that you could just put books in. So I'll just throw that in my backpack and just take that and I put my books in there. So that way I'm hands free. I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm so excited though. Yeah. The last con I went to, I picked up a Minty Fresh Turok one and a Bloodshot one.
Nerdy. The new Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I'm pretty sure you've seen how much that's been selling out. I actually checked on League of Commentaries and I actually counted the covers now at this point. At this point now, that book has around almost 38 covers for an issue 1.
Okay.
Including retailer exclusives, all the covers. 38 fucking covers for an issue 1. That's ridiculous.
This is what bugs me so much about new comic books, especially Marvel. Marvel will do A through Z of different covers. Then they will go around and do the black and white, the virgin, the foil of these all 38 covers. Like, calm down. Hold on, I'll be right back. I drank too much Monster.
That's fine. I'll just talk to the people here. She left me, guys. She left me like my dad. If you have one comic or a million comics, it makes no difference. You are one of my people. Collectors come in all shapes and sizes. I don't understand people that shit on people for collecting. Yeah, like the collector market, I find it great. I do a little bit of collecting myself. I also think it's just really hard to get someone to read the product overall. Because I understand like a lot of people are basically making this stuff for their audience to read it, and then the audience they have tell a friend kind of thing. well, if people aren't reading it, that's going to be a problem. Because I'd imagine, depending on like how much like crowdfunders do, like how much is the ratio between like readers to collectors, I'm still trying to figure that out myself, people, Litters. Yeah, she left me, guys. She left me like my dad. My dad ain't coming back. I'm black. That's how it happens in here. Compendiums that are coming out from DC are fantastic. Yeah, Robin, Lobo, Nightwing, Wildcats, JSA. So many great stories. Yeah, I always tell people this. If you were someone that wants to collect, but you want to do the whole like bang for your buck kind of thing, Epic Collections. If you're doing Marvel, if the character you like has an Epic Collection line, go for that. Completely go for that, because you're able to get in relatively on a cheaper scale. You can get your character books whenever they come out, and it's only a $50 investment each time. It's not going to be like you're buying the comics repeatedly. It's not going to be as if you're going to be investing into the stuff like every week. Tate Prime, what's up, man? He says, what cracks me up is everyone getting Ultimate Spider-Man #1 are completely ignoring his first appearance in Ultimate Invasion. Yeah. I have that one. So the new Marvel Comics Ultimate Universe, when I do the reviews, I'm not going to do everything in order. I mean, well, for this one, I can do an order. I have the trade, and this is the one shot afterwards. This should have been in here anyway. Marvel is just price gouging motherfuckers anyway. And then after that, I'm gonna do Ultimate Spider-Man from each issue that I have, because I don't even need to get the trade. I already have the collected. I already bought every issue. Probably should just get the trade in general because it's a lot more easier to read and over time. I'll do Black Panther. I have issue 1 for Black Panther and X-Men, and I know they put out the Ultimates recently, so I'll do like issue 1s of those, but I'm not going to try and go through every single one of them unless they really have to keep me interested in each issue. But, I'm a completionist. I don't really like dropping something like midway because I have to finish it out through,
I'm the same way. Where it's a book, a movie, or whatever. If I start it, I'm like a sucker and I have to finish it. I don't care how crappy it is. I have to do it. I'm like, I'm invested. I already got this far. But the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. Yeah, the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff I have not checked out yet, but I heard amazing things about it, and I'll probably just be picking up the trades because Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters, and I like looking at. I don't know. There's something about the art in Spider-Man that just I really dig.
The trade comes out for Spider. It's crazy. Volume 1's called Spider-Man Married with Children. It's crazy how Jonathan Hickman he doesn't do social media, he doesn't do interviews, but I remember the day that they announced that, everyone just loved it. You just give fans what they want, they'll buy it. Oh my god. Come to find out, you just give people what they want. They just give you fucking truckloads of cash.
Yeah,
actually,
yes.
Truckloads of cash they gave this company, to the point where Ultimate Spider-Man #1 currently right now it's on like its 6th reprint for #1.
Whoa,
that's ridiculous. Like, imagine Zeb Wells, you're like just crying in a corner, all the money that Jonathan Hickman's making, and that's crazy about Marvel. They're just now getting rid of Zeb Wells, and it's like, why? I don't get this. If someone doesn't sell books, they just keep getting to write said books for character. It's like, that's not how life works. If you fail at something, you just get cut. Tom King still have this. I just don't get it. And then other people like Joshua Williamson, Jonathan Hickman, they're getting put on like all these titles, and it's like they're just burning these guys out. Like Jonathan Hickman's not just doing Spider-Man. He does Marvel Guides. He's doing also Spider-Man. He's going to be doing the new 4-part mini series for Wolverine coming up next month. They're going to burn this guy out. It's too much.
So that happened to Peach Momoko, and you can definitely tell it happened to Peach Momoko because her art style before she got her contract with Marvel, she took more time and it was more her art style. There was a lot of times you could tell she was pressured to put like 5 pieces out at once, and it affected her artwork because she was just trying to keep up and in demand on how much she had to put out there. And if you're going to hire an artist or something, you need to give them a bit of time to work so that what they're creating is the best that they can do. It's not rushed. It's not whatever. Yeah, I know you want all this stuff out there. I know you want all their artwork out there, their exclusives and all that stuff, but sometimes it's just overwhelming and they can't keep up with what it is that they need to do and produce because she was just doing stuff just to get it out there, and it really affected her work. And I'm glad to see that she's getting like slow down a bit more and going back to the style that she really wants to do, because it was really just she was just trying to super fast get stuff out. You can really tell that in the covers or whatever she was doing.
Well, We had a great conversation here today. It was great to have you
We
on for
did.
the first time. I wanted to make sure our first time was really special. You know, you really enjoyed it. You're like, man, I got to come back and get more of this
I
black
gotta come
guy.
back now. I'm hooked. We gotta go. We gotta do more of these.
Damn it. I wanted to just make sure it was a one-time thing to get rid of you. Not now you're just going to be back. Fucking hell,
No,
man.
I know.
Goddamn.
I know. Now I'm stuck.
So first thing I want to ask is, you have anything special you want to let the audience know about for
Uh,
2024? We're still doing the same thing.
2024. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if you guys don't know, I hit over 500 subs and I am monetized on my channel
Awesome.
now.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
And
All of
give
the
me all your
money.
money.
No, so all the money that I'm going to be making on my show, I'm putting back into my channel and the artists that are going to be on my series.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be using that money to back Kickstarters. I'll be using that money to buy art from these people. I'll be using it to put into the actual artists that are coming on my platform. Because without them, I would not be here. That's not where I want to be. But I look forward to branching out into doing way more of my interviews. I have 4 more shows between now and the end of the month that I will be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of exploded and I'm doing so many of these, but I'm really looking forward to getting back into my farthest feature series because I had to put that on hold because of how much my other series kind of just took off and I needed to put that on the back burner for a bit, but I will be getting back to doing my just regular farthest feature. I'll also be getting back to doing my art streams and actually working on a comic myself for my art. So I'm
Hell
excited
yeah.
about that.
That
Yeah.
is amazing. And the other thing I wanted to ask you is that you've had some people on that would love to talk to. You had this one guy from Asia that
Which
has
one?
the Asia connection. You had this Asian Appreciation Month.
Yes, the AAPI. Which artists? I'll mention them to you.
I messaged the two of the girls. It was the one guy who was the vintage collector, and it was the girl. There was a few girls. I messaged the girls on Instagram. I think I messaged him. He didn't have like Twitter, so I couldn't message him, or his messages weren't on. Let me actually get the names right now.
If it was Christy, she was in the last month. She was in South Korea and she just got back, but she's heading towards Colorado right now for Fan Expo Colorado.
Let me get the names right now. Let's see. I was like, you have an Asian Appreciation Month. I was like, man, you're gonna have a bunch of Jackie Chan's on.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, May is actually Asian American Pacific Islander Month, which is Asian Heritage Month.
I didn't know
that's
that.
actually celebrated the month of May. So I actually got involved with that last year when one of the co-hosts couldn't make it. So I started helping Nam and Otaku do that last year, and then I got fully involved with it because I'm actually really big into Asian cultures. I have an older brother that's half Korean. My ex was half Korean. Like a lot of people in my life are Asian. So
why are you dating Jackie Chan people?
Martial art movies are amazing. Hello.
Oh God. Oh, there's so much stuff. You buy egg rolls pretty consistently to show your Asian appreciation?
No.
Okay. No. But you do buy a lot of Panda Express. Wait, that's by America.
I actually don't go to Panda Express.
Oh God. Who did you have on? Okay, so there's Alexandra. She's pretty cool.
Yes.
I'll talk to her.
She's awesome. Yes.
Where is there's Christy Shin.
Yes, Christy Shin is the one that was just in South Korea, and she just got back a couple days ago, and she's heading towards Fan Expo Colorado for this weekend, or Denver this weekend.
Okay, I'll have to show you the picture of this. And the old guy, I'm pretty sure who this is. Namatin.
Oh, Nam. Namin is one of the co-hosts. He is one of my homies. Yeah, if you want to know him, he's actually on Twitter. I will send you his link as well. But yeah, he's great. He has really been working on his own art over the last year. And this weekend at Heroes Con, they released we're all part of Comics Curing Cancer, which is a comic book thing that they do every year. Mm-hmm. And I did a massive My Pet Roscoe plushie for it. And this year they did an art book with a lot of people in the community and a couple other artists. So Nami was actually featured in the Comics Curing Cancer art book that was just released during Heroes Con.
Oh goodness, you're just like an international woman.
I do. I know all the peeps, and if I don't know them, I try to know them because I really have an appreciation for art. And writing and horror stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy bringing on, indie artists and everything. It's just, some of them can talk and conversate pretty well. It's the ones that can't are just it makes the shows like they're not bad, but it makes them feel a lot longer than they need. It's like, man, I'm pulling teeth here, actually. Oh.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a language barrier too, but you have to just find a way for them to like giggle
The
and just
Asians,
talk
I would
about their art.
understand. That's
Yeah,
understandable. It's like
yeah.
people that even speak regular English can't hold conversation properly.
Yeah, so that's we actually one of my favorite streams of all times with Frederick, and we were there to talk about his Kickstarter, and we got raided by our hot dog homies, and we spent 2.5 hours talking about hot dogs, and it's probably my favorite stream to date. And shout out to the hot dog homies. Let's go. Actual hot dogs.
You had artist Peggy Christie on.
Yeah, she's a local horror author. I'll be having her and Don England back on because they do a series called Late Night Snack Scene, and they do a lot of he does the art for her books, and she writes inside of his snack scenes.
Wow, so. You are just all invested in this scene. So essentially you're my competition. God damn.
I am. Oh, haha. Yeah.
Crap. You know, I'll just basically give you all of my clout at this point. Well, I have to head out here myself. So the last question I'll ask you is there any shout outs you want to give to anyone in particular and anything else you want to say before we head out?
Well, like you said before, Naman is awesome. He still does his collector series, but he's been doing late night art hangs. Those are some of my homies. The people that are in the chat right now are all from my chat. Tate, awesome dude. He will be with us.
You're giving me clout today. Okay.
That's I am. So yeah. Crystal, I haven't seen Crystal a hot minute, but we text a lot. And TM is actually getting back into TM, if you get back and you're doing your collector series again, you should interview for him for your interviews. So yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone you can connect me with, because I messaged the first 2 women on Instagram, but like, guys, Instagram messaging is awful. Like
Instagram has been so terrible. Like I am blocked from following people on Instagram. I can't follow people anymore on Instagram. It keeps telling me I'm at my limit. I'm like, how? And then I'll go unfollow like 100 people, and it still won't let me. Like dead accounts and like dumb things that I followed over the year from like flicking through reels and stuff. And it's like they won't let me follow anybody, and then it's just so weird. And then like 4 days later, I'll get a thing saying, "Oh, hey, you got a message from somebody," but it never popped up in my thing, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't get it.
Yeah, like on Twitter, at least when someone new messages you, they'll at least let you know in a decent time. But on Instagram, they don't.
It's terrible
at all. It's actually an awful platform.
You have to sit there and like refresh your thing like constantly, and like a lot of times it won't even show up properly that there's a message there. It's really weird.
Well, it was great having you on for the first time. Can't wait to have you on again for a second time later on this year. You know, with women, they always come back if they like me. They always come back.
Hey.
So thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Iron Man Podcast, and we'll see you guys